There is a hidden flood happening in America right now, and it's invisible, it's silent, and it's already eaten 19,000 acres of farmland without a single drop falling from the sky. It's not rain, it's not a hurricane, it's salt. And it's crawling inland, underground, right beneath our feet, turning some of the richest farmland in the United States into dead, white, cracked earth. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll understand a crisis that's already costing hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and most people have never even heard its name. It's called saltwater intrusion and sea level rise, or SWISLR for short. And it's silently transforming a region scientists call the North American Coastal Plain, a strip of land running down almost the entire U.S. Atlantic coast and wrapping around much of the Gulf of Mexico. This isn't a small patch of swamp. We're talking about more than 1 million square kilometers. That's roughly the size of Egypt, and scientists classify it as a global biodiversity hotspot, one of the richest, most unique ecological zones on the planet. But here's the twist nobody's talking about. This entire region is now vulnerable. Rising seas, sinking land, increasingly violent storms. All three are converging at once, and the result is that marine saltwater is pushing further inland, more often, and in greater volumes than ever before. Now, you might be picturing ocean waves crashing over a beach. That's not what this is. This is stranger, and in some ways scarier, because most of it happens where you can't see it. Picture this. A farmer wakes up one morning and walks out to a field that fed his family for generations. Right in the middle of it, there's a patch of soil that's turned white. Nothing grows there. Not this year, not next year. Scientists have a name for this too. They call it the ghost forest and salt patch phenomenon, and it's spreading. Here is the part that should genuinely shock you. Between 2011 and 2017, just 6 years, the Delmarva Peninsula, the land east of the Chesapeake Bay, lost about 19,000 acres of farmland to salt. Not to development, not to erosion you could watch happen, to invisible salt moving through underground water and spreading across the surface. And the money question, because this is where it gets serious, losses from that reduced productivity around visible salt patches on the Delmarva Peninsula alone were estimated between $39.4 million and $107.5 million a year. That's from just one small peninsula. Zoom out globally, and salt-degraded farmland is estimated to cause between $12 and $27.3 billion in economic losses every single year from reduced crop yields. Billion, with a B. Now here's a fact that will change how you think about coastlines forever. Between 1996 and 2016, researchers found that nearly 19,500 square kilometers of coastal forested wetlands were lost across the North American coastal plain. Picture a forest so large it would take you days to drive across. Gone, converted into open marsh or bare ground, because the trees couldn't survive the salt reaching their roots. Why is this happening now, and why is it accelerating? 3 forces are colliding. First, sea levels are rising. As the planet warms, ocean water expands and polar ice melts, pushing more water toward our coasts, and that water finds its way inland through rivers, groundwater, and soil. Second, land is sinking. In many parts of the coastal plain, the ground itself is subsiding, meaning the sea doesn't even need to rise that much to reach further inland, because the land is quite literally dropping to meet it. Third, and this is the part almost nobody knows, humans are making it worse. Farmers and communities across the coastal plain rely on dense networks of drainage canals and ditches to manage water on their land. Scientists have found that these very ditches, built decades ago to protect farmland from flooding, are now acting like highways for saltwater, pulling it further inland than it would ever travel naturally. The infrastructure meant to save the land may be accelerating its loss. Here's another hidden truth. Groundwater extraction, pumping water out of the ground for wells, irrigation, or drinking water, actually pulls salt water in to replace it, like a vacuum. So even communities who never see the ocean, who live miles from any beach, can find their well water slowly turning salty, their soil slowly turning barren, without a single storm ever touching them. This is why scientists call it the invisible flood. No dramatic footage. No breaking news alert, just soil that used to be soft and dark, slowly turning hard, pale, and lifeless. Crops like soybeans, corn, and wheat, staples of American agriculture, are especially vulnerable because salt disrupts a plant's ability to absorb water at all, even when water is right there in the soil. Now, let's talk about the human side, because this is where it gets even more powerful. In rural North Carolina, in a stretch of communities known as Down East, along Core Sound, families are already living this reality, facing repeated flooding, coastal erosion, hurricanes, and creeping salt all at once. These are not wealthy coastal resorts. These are small, tightly knit, often under-resourced communities, some of them centuries old, watching the land beneath their homes and farms slowly change beyond recognition. And there's something researchers didn't expect to find as clearly as they did. This isn't just an economic or environmental crisis. It's an emotional one. For many coastal and indigenous communities, the slow transformation of familiar landscapes, the loss of the marsh they grew up near, the field their grandparents farmed, the forest that's now a ghost forest of dead, salt-killed trees, creates something scientists call solastalgia. It's a kind of grief for a place that still exists, but no longer feels like home. Researchers have linked this loss of place to real increases in anxiety, depression, and mental health struggles in affected communities. Let that sink in for a second. This isn't only about crop yields and dollar signs. It's about identity, about watching your history disappear a few centimeters at a time. So what is actually being done about it? In 2022, scientists realized something troubling. For years, researchers all over the country had been studying pieces of this crisis in isolation. One team looking at Louisiana's disappearing coastline, another studying Chesapeake Bay farmland, another examining North Carolina's flooded ditches. But nobody was connecting the dots. So they built something new, the Swissler Research Coordination Network. Today, it has grown into a community of 358 participants, spread across 28 states, and even includes members from outside the U.S. It brings together hydrologists, soil scientists, anthropologists, environmental justice experts, farmers, indigenous community leaders, and government agencies, all working to understand and respond to this crisis together, instead of in scattered silos. Here's something fascinating about how they're tackling it. Instead of walking into affected communities and lecturing about sea level rise and climate models, researchers learned that real progress starts with listening, using the language communities already use, like flooding and erosion, and starting conversations around lived, tangible experiences, like how rising water complicates the school run or the commute to work. Trust, it turns out, is the real foundation of climate adaptation, not just data. And the solutions being proposed are bold. Scientists argue against small, scattered fixes, clearing a ditch here, patching a shoreline there. Instead, they're calling for large-scale, coordinated action, similar in ambition to massive environmental projects like the Everglades Restoration Effort or the Chesapeake Bay Program. Their philosophy: identify where the need and potential for change are greatest, act at scale, and keep the network of scientists, farmers, and communities connected for the long haul. Because this threat isn't slowing down, and neither can the response. So here's the bigger picture. An area larger than most countries, billions of dollars in yearly agricultural losses, thousands of square kilometers of vanished forest, communities losing not just land, but their sense of home. And it's happening right now, quietly, underground, while most of the world isn't watching. The coastal plain isn't disappearing overnight in some dramatic cinematic flood. It's dissolving, one invisible drop of salt water at a time, and the question scientists are racing to answer is whether we can adapt fast enough through smarter land use, coordinated science, and community-led solutions before more of this land and the culture tied to it is lost for good. So here's what I want to know from you. If salt water is quietly swallowing farmland and forests along the U.S. coast right now, why isn't this front-page news everywhere? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if this opened your eyes to something you'd never heard of before, make sure you hit follow, because I'm bringing you more hidden science stories just like this one. The kind that are happening right now, right under our feet, that nobody's talking about.